We can't hear you, Mike. You're muted.
You're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
I'm pulling up
There.
the minutes so I can go through because I'm a little disoriented from the last minute ordeal.
Take your time. Nothing's more nerve-wracking than trying to make the dang technology work.
Yeah.
Right here somewhere there we go.
For some reason, my camera's not working.
Whose is that?
Scott's.
Okay, Scott's. That's good.
Oh.
All right.
There's Tim.
I'm here.
Hey, Tim.
Howdy.
So we are ready to get started?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I'll call the facilities meeting to order on February 22nd at 6:02 p.m. or 6:06 p.m. on February 22nd, 2023. First order of business will be roll call, and let's see. Is everybody here? I think Ron is probably absent.
Ron is
Here, Mike, with us.
Is excused.
He's here. He's waving at you from in the room.
Who is?
Ron.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. I thought you went to bed. Okay. Great.
Great.
Not great. I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Moving on here. Get myself out of trouble. Approval of minutes from the January 11th meeting. Does everyone have?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, approved by Tim and seconded by Don. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Opposed? It passes. All right, let's move on to any public comment. We have anybody there for public comment? All right, then we'll have no public comment for tonight. There's been no items placed on the request of the chair. Staff reports. We'll start with Deb with the fair.
Well, hello, everybody. Sorry I missed a couple meetings, but I do have some good news. I was at the WAF convention, or Wisconsin Association of Fairs convention, in January during the meeting, and I just wanted to let you know that we won 2 awards. One for our photo media contest, and we were talking about technology here, and I was gonna send that photo to Scott, and I can't get it to download. So there we go. And I usually pretty good with technology, so I'll have to share and bring you a copy of it to the next meeting. It was a night shot that Sam took of the one of the rides in motion. It was pretty cool. So we won that award, and then I was inducted into the Wisconsin Association of Fairs Hall of Fame. So pretty excited about that. So anyway, all in all, it was a great convention. Larry went down, and he attended on Monday, Tuesday, and part of Wednesday, but a lot of great educational sessions along with a lot of networking. And you always come back from that all enthused to get started and implement new ideas and stuff. And I guess that's the important part, is if we can come away and learn something down there. Jerry Apps, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he wrote a book, and he was the keynote speaker. He's like 80 some years old, and so he spoke from an armchair on the stage. It talks about the history of fairs in Wisconsin, and if you ever want to look it up, his name is spelled APPS, just like it sounds, Jerry. And it's the history of Wisconsin fairs, and he's got little blurbs in there about every fair in the state. And he's quite a dynamic person and told fair stories and so forth. So it's fun to hear him. But other than that, we're moving ahead. We have our new theme selected, but I can't tell you because we're running a Facebook contest. So if you're following our Facebook page for Dunn County Fair, we're putting clues out there to see if we can get any guesses what our theme is this year, just for something different. And thanks to Scott and the crew, they got everything ready for the beef weigh-in, which was held on February 8th. And for the first time in a long time, it wasn't 20 below zero. It was actually pretty nice. So, but I didn't go. I had other things happening that day, and Larry went to the weigh-in, and he reported that they had one steer that got away, and so they had a little roundup at the fairgrounds. But all in all, we're coming together. We're updating Fairbook. Mercedes is going to help me as soon as I get the contracts done for our commercial vendors, and she's going to help me send out information and get that piece all rolling. I've got several judges hired for this year. Changing the schedule a little bit. We're going to do judging on Tuesday for the non-animal things, to allowing people not to be so rushed on Wednesday when we have everything all at one time. So anyway, does anybody have any questions? We've been really busy and I'm trying to catch you up here on what's been happening. But so
I don't, no.
okay, well, great. Just stay tuned, and I'll let you know what the theme is next month if you haven't figured it out.
All right. No comments from anybody? All right, moving on to Facilities and Parks Division. Scott?
Thanks, Mike. Everything's going along smoothly for operations of facilities. The guys are keeping busy with the usual work orders and the preventive maintenance and that. Nothing overly exciting, although I did hire a custodian over at the Neighbors. It was a gal that worked for the Neighbors through Express. Carmen and I had hired her to help out the homemakers over at the Neighbors, and she had interest in the part-time custodian position. So I hired her for the part-time custodian position. So now all of the facilities positions are full. We're fully staffed. So it's a good feeling there. And it seems like everywhere I go, the facility staff is complimented in every building. So I think we have a great team going. They do a great job getting things done, interacting with people in the building and staff, and everybody likes them. So big shout out to the facilities staff, the facility workers, facilities technicians, and the custodians. They're all working out really well. As far as projects, in the government center, work continues on adding doors and door frames into offices. UW Extension had ended up with 6 doors that they purchased to have put in. So the guys got those put in, and the mud work had started on the drywall, and then the spray texture will be done, then paint, then that'll be all finished up, all the detail. The Human Services requested to have a door put in from a hallway into a room. It was kind of a little conference room / office room. So we went ahead and we cut an opening in. The guys installed a door frame that we already had in an existing door. So mainly that was the cost of a few steel studs and some drywall to go around the frame to blend it all in. And that'll make that room more accessible for them to use for office space. They seem to be lacking in office space all the time. So we helped them out that way, that it's less congested, hopefully. ENS, Environmental Services, the guys built the reception area for them when you walk into their suite, and put in a door and openings for reception glass. They've got that all mudded. It's ready for the spray textures, the next step. Then once that's done, then the countertops can be put in, the aluminum frames and the glass can be put in. You can all get painted, and then they'll be all set to have a reception area where you walk into it. Increases safety for them and a little more security. And then last, it'll be the 3 doors in HR. They had bought some doors and frames, so those will be the last ones installed. And projects will be wrapped up in the government center, I think, for now, the major projects. At Judicial Center, Jacob and Bob have been working on the EOC training room for emergency services. They worked on that and did a lot of repair on the walls where there are holes. They cut down the countertops and put some oak trim on the front edge of the countertops, which really made them look nice, freed up some more space in the room for when you're sitting at tables, you're not backing into the counters. There was a little bit of a tight squeeze before. They did a lot of work with hiding cables, running them in the walls so that you don't have all that. You just have the outlet plate that's showing for like HDMI cords for the TVs and stuff and projector. They did a really nice job of that. They've also been working on some of the jury rooms behind the courtrooms where the jury meets and do their deliberations. They kind of needed a bit of a facelift. There were some large, I think they were 6 foot by 6 foot tables in there, like two of them slid together, and that's what the jury, would sit around to deliberate in that. And Katie Shalley, clerk of courts, had gotten some new tables to go in there. They're a little narrower, work a little better. And then Jacob and Bob put in some cabinets, put in a countertop, did some painting, some drywall repair in there. And then they took the bathroom floor, they cleaned it all up and did a wax coat over top of that. So it really looks nice. It looks like, it really been redone and updated. Be a lot nicer for the juries and for all the people that use those rooms. So that's a huge thing too there. Neighbors wise, Brady and Bob have been keeping going on working on work orders, repairs, all that stuff. I got Brady took a test so that he is certified for refrigeration now. So I purchased some refrigeration tools he's been working with. Dennis has been the guy that's been doing repairs on our geothermal heat pumps over at the neighbors. And so now Brady's going to be taking over that. And we're doing replacements of compressors, and any repairs we can do ourselves, we're going to do them in-house instead of having a contract out to somebody. So Brady's learned a lot. He's really going forward with that. So we're really, really impressed with his willingness to learn all that stuff and take it on and do that stuff. It's really, really good to see these guys that want to learn and want to take on more stuff and repair stuff in-house to save the county some money. Moving on from that to fleet. I don't have any updates on the fleet. Still haven't heard anything when any cars that are ordered are supposed to come. That's just sitting out there, and I guess that's the way it still is that everything is slow as far as getting vehicles that are ordered. Going on to financials, I sent out the financials. The one that I sent for 2022 should be the end of year of 2022. That should be everything on there. The one for 2023 would be the one that is from January 1st until now, but we're not doing anything as far as doing projections on that until we get out into April. I had a meeting with Beata and we talked about that. So we really won't be giving you much on financials until we get like the first quarter done with, and then we will go in and work on that, do projections, and then you'll know more of where we're at for 2023. Moving on to energy, I did reach out to Abrina, and from what I understand, she's still not ready to give her report on that, still finishing stuff up. So let her work on that and get that finished up. I did meet with Olson Solar Energy. They are working on the solar grant that Transit got. And so I met with them to see what it would cost to get solar at the Menominee Highway Shop. Looking at it, what it would cost the county to add on to the transit one. either, have one installed there for the highway shop while they're there, because that would save money because they're there doing it already, or how we could work that out. So they contacted me today that they have the report ready. I'm going to go over that with one of their staff, and then I'll present that next month to you to see what that looks like for the highway shop there. I'm also going to get over all of our Xcel Energy bills to them for the neighbors, for judicial, and for the government center, so that we can see what a report would look like there. We can see what numbers look like and have a better idea of what a solar situation would be. So making progress. Hopefully we'll be making more progress than we did with the other company. Anyone have any questions?
I've got a question. Scott, may I?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. The two questions that I had is the most recent hire you had I was just kind of curious as to how those people reacted to coming from a employee standpoint, working for that employment company, to being a county employee, and just kind of wondering what their response was. Were they surprised, that never imagined would happen, that kind of thing, or what?
Well, some of them got a heads up when we started working on that, so they kind of knew it was coming, but they were all very happy with it. Going from the express temporary agency to a permanent county employee really helped them a lot. Two of them are part-time, so they get their wage plus in lieu of fringe, and then the other four are full-time. So they really like it. They're very happy.
So a good step in the right direction, then, I take it.
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Another question regarding the energy. There was some issue I remember talked about by having the county shop being so close to the airport, where there may be some reflective issues with solar panels, blinding pilots coming in, that kind of thing. Yep. Just how is that getting addressed?
Well, I reached out to the city to get information on that footprint of the airport. I haven't really gotten any information back. And of course, Olson Solar Energy assures me that there isn't a problem with the airport, but I want to check more into that with the city just to make sure nothing is a problem there before we would go ahead with anything.
Yeah, I don't want the feds coming in and say, "Oh, got to take it away."
No, we don't want that.
No. Okay. Other than that, that's the only two questions I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Don.
Mr. Chairman, Scott, there is a map on the city website that shows where you can and can't put stuff in regard to the airport, but I had trouble figuring it out. So, but you can look it up there, and then we have a new there's a new city manager, not city manager, but city public works manager.
Yes.
Now Randy's retired, you know that probably. Yes. So maybe contacting him too.
Yes.
But yeah, that would be important that we check that out before we go too far with this.
Yep,
what
definitely.
were you thinking about? What kind of quote were you thinking about the size of the installation that would power the highway department?
Well, honestly, I haven't even looked at what they're proposing for us.
Oh, okay.
Once I have that, once I look it over and go over it with them, I'll definitely let you know. I'll report.
Well, that's a good idea to combine those two. That would be a good idea. I thank you for that.
Yeah,
going ahead with that.
I don't know how it's going to work out because of the transit one being a grant, because that's a federally funded grant. How we can do that, if we have to actually do them separate, or if they can be the same solar field.
Well, isn't the highway department on? Are they on Xcel or are they on? I thought they were on the county cooperative.
No, they are on Xcel.
Oh, they are, okay.
Yes.
That's all I have.
So Scott, the temporary services employees that come to work for the county,
Yes.
it sounds like they're very happy to be full-time employees with the county.
Yes, they are.
And maybe in the future, if someone has the grand idea of getting rid of our permanent employees, we should all raise a red flag and say, hey, it don't work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they are very happy to, all of them are very happy. The part-time ones and the full-time ones, very happy to be county employees.
And I'd like to compliment you on trying to roll some of the highway solar into some of the grants, because if we're presenting that on a higher up the chain, I think it kind of helps feed together that people would be, some of the other board members that may not be as quick to jump on solar might be more excited to have the pay for the highway solar if they know there's a grant for the transit already.
Sure. And I can't take the credit for that. Chris Corpola and I had a discussion, and it was her suggestion to check that out. So I checked it out with Austin to see where it was at. And then I had talked with Olson Solar Energy. So started getting information from them and started going forward. But we'll continue that process and let you know what's going on.
So you'll have conversations with how big of a solar field we can put in, so or what's the limitations with XL and all that.
Yep.
Hopefully we can do a big enough one to serve all of the needs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
Would will we have some information or enough that we could present this at the, aren't we having a county board capital planning meeting in March? Would we want to think about presenting something at that? If it's ready? So to kind of get people excited about it, like,
Yeah, I can get any information I have. I can get to Mike or whoever, or you, Don, and you guys can.
Well, give it to Mike, and because that'll kind of go through some of the. I expect that'll go through the planning or the executive committee too first, wouldn't it? Probably. So.
Probably. We'd like to get, if you could get us some idea of some costs that we could put a budget number together to provide them, so that we can at least have a request for it, an initial request for it, and get the ball moving forward, and then bring more substantial backup information as we get it too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to meet with the gal from Wilson Solar Energy next week, so I'll have more information there, and I'll get it to you, Mike.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome.
Yes, Ann.
Kind of following up on what you two said about the capital planning meeting, is there any thoughts on geothermal and putting some numbers in there for that as well?
So I've been working toward the HVAC controls at the Judicial Center that was slated for capital improvements of last year. Working toward that. What I ran into some situations there is that we had to look at if our end goal is to get geothermal in Judicial Center, which would save us the cost of the gas. I just had to explore which direction the controls would go, and then where we're going forward from there to get to that point of geothermal. I can get more numbers on that, and I will here, as far as what the HVAC controls is already slated. That's a capital improvement project, which I'm carrying money forward from 22 to 23 in order to get that project completed. And once I get further into that, then we'll be able to look at what geothermal actually is going to cost, how we go about it, how we end up doing it. A little more of a project, putting it in a building when it's occupied versus like the government center. It was unoccupied when that system was put in. And of course, the neighbors was built and it was put in at that time. So be a little more of a challenge, but we can get there.
At least so we can maybe begin to present it for the 5-year planning study or the DP CIP.
Yep.
Go ahead, Don. Was it you that was started speaking?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. If we can get some numbers, I don't think they have to be real concrete. Maybe, plus or minus 10, 20%, something like that.
Yeah.
Then we could present that also, and then people will start thinking about that anyway as we go along. Has the price of natural gas gone up much this year?
I haven't even looked to see what it has gone up. I'm sure it has gone up some. Our bills haven't gone up significant, so I don't believe that it's a huge amount.
Go ahead, Ann.
Oh, one other thing I noticed about the financials from 2022 is it because we're carrying forward the capital improvement expense that I was wondering how year to date is higher than projected for the expense CIP.
There's, as you'll see down as we go through the agenda, there's going to be a carry forward for, I think it's $877,000. So that's going to be why it's a lot more. There's the capital improvement. There are two big projects that didn't get completed at the Judicial Center in 2022. And that was the HVAC controls and the generator replacement project. And then there was still some extra money left over from 21 that was carried forward to 22, used on projects, and it's still there. So that's being carried forward to 23 also. So it's a combination of 2 years in there that are being carried forward.
One more question. On this control project, how long do you think you can use the old controls without encountering a lot of repair costs? I'm thinking if we, because I think last month you said that you really the controls we would put in to run the existing system probably wouldn't work very well, at least in a geothermal system. So I'm wondering, can we keep the old system going without too much money spent in repairs?
That's what I'm intending to do, Don, is any upgrades be compatible with a future geothermal system so that we can use them and not have to replace stuff that we just put in.
Okay, so we do have some flexibility there. We could put in some new repair or new parts, and yet they would work for the new system then.
Yeah,
okay,
there's new technology that can be put in, and that will work for the geothermal system in the future.
Okay, good.
Good. Any other questions for Scott? Well, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Corporate council report. I don't know if Nick is there tonight or if he's on.
He is not here this evening.
Okay, so we won't have any report on the transfer station or the parks.
No.
So moving on to considerations for action to be taken, we will table the camping in the parks. We have something for Red Cedar Racing, the 2023 season schedule. I'm assuming everybody's seen that. And Scott, are we just approving this for him for the year? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, Red Cedar Racing, Johnny Johnson is there at the government center. He probably would like to speak on this. Red Cedar Racing likes to bring their schedule for the season up to the facilities committee. More transparency. Let the facilities committee know what's going on, what they have planned, any special races, any stuff like that. Just to get the blessing of the facilities committee for their 2023 schedule.
So can we have Johnny Johnson speak to us on that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we just like Scott said, we just want everybody to be aware of what we got going on. We feel like everything, the relationship we've had going with the facilities and whatever has gone really well, especially working with Scott. And so, in the past and going forward, we just want to bring the schedule in to kind of show everybody what we do. We don't try to change anything or, try to use extra like extra days or whatever that were not allotted and things of that. We try to stay within the parameters of our contract and everything. So we just wanted to lay it all out there. I wanted to be here for questions and just kind of go over everything with you. Our car show is scheduled for the same weekend as usual. We rent that from the hockey association, the hockey rink, and our opener kind of follows as per usual. We can race the first Friday in April per the contract. So we're actually scheduled right now for an open practice on the 7th, just because, obviously looking at the weather, and we've got some new clay that we actually purchased to add on to put on the track on the surface. So we would like to get in there as soon as possible, do some work on the track, add that new clay, and then we'd like to have a practice before we actually go racing. But as far as our entire schedule goes, you can see through there, we've got approximately a day per month that we actually take off. Like, July, say for instance, we're not going to race against Country Jam. Obviously, a lot of people go to that. And, we're just kind of trying to work on the nights we can get the bigger crowds. Um, I'll go ahead and pinpoint that August 8th, which is a Tuesday, which is obviously a special night for us. As some of you are aware, usually once a year, we've had the World of Outlaw national touring late models come to town on a Sunday. Well, unfortunately, they're nowhere in our region on our regular weekend for that Sunday. So we've actually paired together with the XR Racing Series, which is a similar late model racing series that will be coming out of New Richmond at Cedar Lake. And then that Monday night, they'll be in Superior for a $20,000 race. And then hopefully we plan to get them that Tuesday night at Red Cedar. And I mean, we're talking a lot of these are all that, like I said, national touring cars that a lot of people travel around to see, and it'll bring a lot of people from other states and out of town into Menominee. And then they'll continue after Menominee on down to Kentucky, where they have to meet back up for the next race on their tour. But other than that, if you look at the rest of the schedule, it's all pretty much status quo with the way it's been the last few years. Funky Manor is pretty much the same weekend, season championship, and all that stuff. So if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I got a question, Scott? Or
go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I see all these dates here. Are we kind of double checking to make sure we're not stepping on anybody else's toes on this one?
As far as whose toes are you?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I'm just you guys got a pretty filled up schedule here, and I just was wondering, do we have this all? I kind of with Scott and stuff like that. Do these dates all match, and we're not going to be got two events planned at the same time, kind of thing?
Oh no, we work with Deb and the fair board. We actually race during the fair, and with all the other stuff that goes on around the fairgrounds, we don't ever have any issues with cross scheduling. We work with the equine group, and I know the hockey association or the ice board, they schedule people into the rink over there, but that's a totally different area and situation to where we don't ever have any issues with us scheduling together. So like I said, pretty much the equine and the fair, and I can't really think of anything else that might be going on during the summer. There really isn't issues with cross scheduling in any of these groups.
Okay. Just like I say, you see a schedule like that and you go, oh boy.
I totally understand. When you sit and look at the whole schedule, it does look like quite a bit, but it seems to go by pretty quick. And we're actually racing a smidge less this year than we did last. So
well, I wish you luck. Have a safe season.
Thank you very much.
I counted about 20 races you guys have. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dunn.
I was just wondering on that, the Tuesday night race with the Outlaws, or that's a special night, but that's, you are substituting another night. It's not an extra night, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be an extra night. That still falls. We are allowed X amount of special nights to race, but it's not an extra night. We're still under our total numbers of races allowed in the season.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, did you have anything else?
No, I just verified that he had 20 races this year. And a couple of them were not on Friday night. That's all.
So do we need to, does this require a motion, or is this just letting us know what's going on?
I think it's just them letting us know what's going on, just to get any questions answered, see if there's any opposition to what their schedule is for the year.
Do we have?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think so. Yeah, I would think as long as they aren't changing anything or going outside the contract, I would guess it's for information only, probably.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody that has any problems or issues with the schedule? Any other comments on the schedule? With that, I would say that the racing has the facility committee's blessing to move forward with that schedule.
Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Moving on to considerations of reports and resolutions ordinance to be recommended to the county board by the facilities committee. First will be the carry forward 22 capital improvement project budgets. You want to take care of that, Scott?
Yes, I can do that.
And the other ones as well, if you'd like.
Okay, and so the carry forward, as you can see, it ends up being where's the amount? Total amount of $877,780 to move forward. 300,000 of that was for the HVAC control system, and $250,000 for emergency generator at Judicial Center. There was savings with the abatement project that was done at the government center at the old boiler room. That saved quite a bit to move forward. There was savings after doing the steel roof on the old laundry building that we're using for cold storage. And then there were also, like I said, there was some leftover from 2021 capital improvement that was moved forward to 2022 and now is being moved forward to 2023. With things going up in price, there may be some more additional costs to the HVAC control system or the emergency generator, which this way we have some extra money there for that. I'm continuing going forward with working on the 23 capital improvement stuff. So hopefully there's nothing in that's going to end up costing more than what was budgeted. So if we move this 877,000 forward, we'll use that on projects that still need to be done. Any questions on that?
Do I have a motion for this before we have discussion?
So move.
Motion by Kim. A second?
I'll second.
By Don. All right. Any additional comments, questions, or?
I was just wondering, the generator at the Judicial Center, is that when the lights go out, this automatically takes over then, or?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, with no further questions, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. All right, on to the next one, Scott.
Okay. And so the next one is, I told you about a grant that I applied for with the Menominee Sunrise Rotary Club. It was a $5,000 grant to go toward repairs at Caddy Woodlawn Park. They awarded us the grant of $5,000. So in order for that grant check to be, for me to be able to use it, it has to come through the committee, and a budget adjustment has to be made so that it can be put into the facilities department's funds to be able to be spent and used on that stuff.
All right, do I hear a motion in a second?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Go ahead.
We hopefully kudos to the Rotary, you know, from the county board here in regards to sharing with their funds with the county to take care of that issue. Other than that, it's sure nice that we have public organizations that are willing to help the county out to do certain items. It's a real community step, and I really think it kind of brings people together.
Yes. Maybe we should make a point at a later time to thank some of these organizations. Not part of this motion, but I certainly agree with what you say, Tim.
Okay. Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. All right, let's move on to the next one. There is one more, right? The financial.
Let's see.
Just two, I think.
Just the two.
Okay, I was thinking the financials. So we didn't cover the financials yet, right?
I discussed them a little bit in my report of the financials that I sent out, included with the packet.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone who wants to go over the financials that I sent out, I'm open to questions.
I want mine just circling back and just making a point to cover that a little more in depth to make sure that to go over if everyone's seen them. Is there any questions on the financials? All right, I guess we didn't have to circle back after all. It looked good to me too, but I wanted to get it out there. So
dot the I's and cross the T's.
You did a good job. Thank you. I would like to see the financials a little more often as we move forward in the future if we could, but that's very nice. Thank you. All right. The next item is, I guess that was the last item. Anything anyone else needs to bring up? The next meeting then will be scheduled for March 22nd at 6 p.m. I believe that's a Wednesday night. Any announcements or?
Yeah,
all right.
It's a Wednesday.
Then the meeting is adjourned. Oh, have a good evening. Don, I'll send you